What? Oh no. Is it Galactus?
What?
It's Galactus.
You got one on the hook.
Oh my god. This car is savage.
Oh my god.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. Rick and Morty Season 5, Episode 5, a Morty can graffiti paired Hellraiser pleasure pain logic with American Graffiti and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, revealing that Rick's car has a personality all her own, far beyond keeping Summer safe, including Galactus hunting.
Yes.
How many Galactuses has she killed, and why is she killing? Is there a deeper reason she's hunting these deities? One that might make us say, what the f***? This is Ricksplained, our Rick and Morty after show where your cringes at our over-analysis feel so good to us.
Yes.
Keep cringing.
Ooh, your angry comments make us feel so good, which makes us feel bad.
I've heard what makes you cheer. I'm Erik Voss. My Easter egg breakdown of all the details he missed is coming tomorrow, but here I'm with a co-host who totally cuts it shut, Tommy Bechtold.
Hey, yeah, we're back. I'll be honest, I didn't do as much this episode, so that was something.
Yeah, step in the right direction for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
We're not halfway through this. We are halfway through this season now. So at the end of the episode, Tommy and I will kind of go into our general state of the season thoughts. But for right now, before we dive into what this whole Galactus killing really means for the universe, Tommy, break down what exactly happened this episode.
Absolutely. I hope you are a fan of 80s movies, because if you are not, you may also be asking yourself, WTF, about this episode. Rick has to suffer through a karaoke night with Jerry to pay a debt to Hellraiser Cenobites, who get off on Rick's suffering by turning purple, or whatever color that was. And oh my god, there was so much weird. Oh, it's so good. Jerry realizes he's the butt of the joke and stops playing along, so the Cenobites drag him to hell, really just to lure Rick into a trap to torture Rick with Jerry. Meanwhile, in order to win the new guy, Bruce Chutt back, Morty and Summer take him joyriding in Rick's car, who argues with them in the Keep Summer Safe voice. The car takes over the night and hunts a Galactus, and then flirts with the Changeformers. They get grossed out at her just being a car. Oh, what do they call her? She's a non-changer?
Yeah, she's not. It throws up all over her dome.
Oh my god, throws up the oil. So good.
Yeah.
They get grossed out at her just being cars, so she massacres them in Space Tahoe. They get arrested, and the car tries to pin it all on Bruce, which I thought was a great plan.
Yeah.
But ends up blowing up the jail. Yeah. Beth and Rick break Jerry free from hell by weaponizing the Cenobites' pleasure pain against them. Bruce Chutbeck ditches Morty and Summer, but then at school gets made fun of for wearing the same pair of pants 2 days in a row, which, by the way, if that was a rule, I would have been the least popular kid in school, because I wore those jeans for months, baby.
Which, you have to know, everyone who's writing the show is aware of that. It's such a stupid thing to get made fun of for, but if someone does notice it, you don't really have a defense. It's
Absolutely.
I don't want to wash jeans every night.
Yeah, washing denim every day? What are we, aristocrats? Not in this economy.
But I'm wearing a different shirt with it.
That's right. Yeah, I wear a different color of the same shirt from Kohl's, and that makes me cool.
Don't you know the top half of our bodies sweat more than the lower half of our bodies? It's just science.
Not me. Not thanks to Blue Chew and Manscaped. All right, two sponsors that I don't know if they're doing this episode. All right, and then finally, to end things off, he gets jumped by the mailboxians.
Yep, they got their revenge.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, a lot to dig into this episode, like the secret life of Rick's car. I never thought this voice would return in such a plot-driving capacity.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about what it means that she killed a Galactus. But first, if you want to help us make more great content at New Rockstars like Ricksplained, one of the best ways that you can support us is to check out our merch at newrockstarsmerch.com. We got some brand new Black Widow-inspired designs in the shop, including our latest obsession, the Red Deep design, and some fun Russian nesting doll designs. Support this channel, get yourself some cool swag by going to newrockstarsmerch.com. All right, Tommy, what's our big question?
Erik, why does Rick's car kill Galactuses?
because it's awesome.
Yes.
Because if you can, why wouldn't you?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
That's all we have to with it. So when Rick's car takes over the joyride, she goes fishing for a giant space deity that's clearly modeled on Galactus, the devourer of worlds from Marvel Comics, by luring him, it looks like with the solar system to eat, although based off of the proportions of the car to the solar system, it must be a real small one.
Yeah.
And Galactus is actually smaller here than he would be in Marvel lore. He's huge. But after killing him, she does this like measuring him like a sport fish.
Yes.
And it says it's too small, throw him back.
Yes.
But implying that she has hunted other larger Galactuses before. And she says, Rick never lets me do this. Which to me was the fascinating line. Like, Rick knows better than to go after Galactuses for some reason. Like, he has some kind of like line of demarcation when it comes to Galactuses that he doesn't want to cross.
Or he just has a very specific Galactus hunting license or Galactus fishing license, and he doesn't want to pay a fine to whatever the International Fish and Wildlife Foundation is, or Interdimensional Fish.
You have to only have certain seasons where you can hunt Galactuses.
You can catch a 85,000-foot Galactus between May and July, but outside of that, they have to be 100,000 feet. That's what the rule is, I think.
It's like a population control, right? Which is 2 layers of population control. They control population by devouring dying worlds.
Right.
And just kind of like, being the custodian of the universe.
Yeah.
So you got to be a proper custodian to them, you know?
You know what? It doesn't sound so bad when you say it like that.
I also like how there is kind of a fun parallel where Rick's Cenobite form is like another sport fish, a marlin that's pierced through his torso. Like, I don't know if there's some kind of connection there. But we know that Rick's car, of course, was deadly all the way back in season 2, the Rick's Must Be Crazy episode, Keep Summer Safe, where, you know, it was just murdering people. The worst thing it did, I think, was psychotically resurrect the false version of that cop's son who had died and then melts in his arms and screams.
My God.
It was horrific, but it ended up brokering a peace between humanity and the telepathic spiders. But this car is genius, and you could argue that it has the same intelligence that Rick's had. Rick just programmed it with an AI, but I think it's just creepy this whole time for all the things that have happened in this car. The car has witnessed it, the car has seen it, the car can talk. The car kind of has its own personality, its own soul, one could argue. So where does that come from, and why is it not always complaining? I assume Rick has it in its programming. But I would say that based off of the fact that this car is killing a Galactus means that it is even more bloodthirsty than Rick is. Because Rick had a reason not to do it, the car has a reason to do it. And let's also not forget that for everything horrible Rick has done with this car, the car has enabled him to do it. Like last season where they kind of became terrorists and bombed the hell out of that Glorzo world with the facehuggers.
Yes.
Like, that was a huge step. It evaded the towers. It avoided a 9/11 reference, but then did a Pearl Harbor reference because that was okay.
That's right. Oh, my God.
Messed up.
That was so crazy.
But I think, to me, one thing that's easy to forget about this car is that it is powered by the microverse battery, which I argue might give it its own Promethean god complex.
Oh, right.
Because, I think forever keeping the lights on in this car is actually Stephen Colbert's character. This Zeep Zamflor was the guy's name. And that episode ended with him just like on one of these treadmills, eternally bitter toward his god, Rick.
Right.
So you have this kind of like layer upon layer of Promethean hatred. And my theory is that is the source of the car's unique deity bloodthirst. And that we know Rick himself loves killing gods. This isn't that different. Like we saw him kill a Zeus last season, episode 2, one of its decoys talked about wanting to kill the Christian god. This isn't anything new. But the fact that the car is okay with killing Galactuses, and the fact that, terrifyingly more than one exists in this universe, just tells me that this particular action doesn't come from Rick's programming. I think it comes from this car's ghost in the machine. And that could be a soul that is kind of derived from the microverse battery sentiment.
I mean, that would be terrifying for the future of this season and future seasons of the show. If this car is just kind of if it's beyond Rick's control, because that's kind of like the basis for, like, I guess the control of the entire show is that Rick has invented all of this tech. Mm-hmm. So it does kind of obey his commands. And when it goes out of control, he generally has like a destroy sequence or a self-destruct sequence built in. So if this is a rogue Rick invention, we might be in some real trouble. Or the Rick and Morty universe might be in some real trouble.
Yeah, agreed. Now, I think you saw that episode 7 was like accidentally released early. Did you have a chance to watch it yet?
I did not.
Okay, I have watched it. I'm not going to talk about it until that week comes up. So I know a lot of you guys keep tweeting me. Don't worry, I've seen it. I know what happens in the episode. If you haven't seen it, there's a lot to look forward to coming up. But surprisingly, there are continuity things that I thought would never come back on the show that do come back that episode.
Well,
and almost kind of a cosmic in a cosmic setting, which make me think like in upcoming episodes like The Vindicators, which is going to happen this season, things like killed Galactuses might not be a one and done joke. That's something that could set up the plot of the Vindicators episode.
Yeah, I think that there's been, I mean, we're going to talk about the season more. There's a lot of loose threads right now. And I know this show's not obligated to pull on those threads ever, but it feels like the way I'm so sorry, my phone is going absolutely crazy. I have it on silent. There feels like, I know the show's not beholden to pull on threads, but it feels like this year specifically, they're setting up a lot of really cool things to return to. Or very disturbing things to return to in regards to incest babies, giant incest babies in space.
But I also think things that are sort of Marvel related that does tend to come back a lot. I think because of the show's connection with the writing staff of these Marvel shows, they came from Rick and Morty in a lot of cases. And I think Dan Harmon and company are leaning into that parallel. So I think they enjoy kind of making light or making fun of or just abruptly killing off elements that evoke the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I know Galactus isn't in there yet, but probably will be soon.
Right.
I'm excited to see what effects killing or hunting Galactuses could have. I think we're always surprised by the scale of Rick's power and the power of Rick's tech. Like, when he fought the Zeus, I was like, holy crap, there is no limit to his power.
Yeah, for sure.
He is essentially a god.
Right.
But the fact that they are now bringing in actual forms of these things, whether they're from religion or from from comics lore, is just fascinating to see who else they're going to bring in there. I mean, you could argue the fact that they have fought things like Scary Terry, and they're fighting these Cenobites now. That like they're not afraid of fighting demonic entities.
No, not at all. In fact, they almost embrace it.
All right. Well, we want to talk more about this episode, but first, some people helped us make this episode. Our friends at Blue Chew have a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no doctor's office or pharmacy trips. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you receive your prescription within days. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength. And if you hate swallowing pills, good news, Blue Chew is chewable, just like it says in the name. So if you could benefit from some extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we've got a special deal for our audience. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Ricksplained at checkout. Just pay the $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Ricksplained to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? We've all been there at some point. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. Start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line or self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise available for clients worldwide. Log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You won't ever have to sit in a comfortable waiting room or look for parking. BetterHelp makes it easy and free to change counselors if you need to. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit BetterHelp.com/Ricksplained. That's better, H-E-L-P, and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Special offer for Ricksplained audience. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/Ricksplained. And thanks to Helix Helix for sponsoring the show. Whether your day job is being a master of the mystic arts, a billionaire playboy philanthropist, or an accountant, at the end of the day, you want to sleep in a bed designed to fit your specific needs. Helix Sleep has a quiz that matches your body type and sleep preferences to the ideal mattress for you. They have soft, medium, and firm mattresses. Mattresses great for cooling you down if you sleep hot, and even a Helix Plus mattress for plus-size sleepers. I took the quiz and got matched with a Dusk Luxe Helix mattress, a medium-firm beauty with lumbar support that sleeps cool. I've been slumbering like a boss since I got it.
Like a Voss.
The mattress ships right to your door for free. You never need to go to a mattress store again. They were awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/ricksplained. That's helixsleep.com/ricksplained. All right, Tommy, back to the episode here. Let's read too much into Rick's journey into hell with the Cenobites. Mm-hmm. Is Rick having to suffer through Jerry's cringiness hell of his own making? Because they say the cringe would not exist unless it's observed. Mm. But are we also to believe, based off of the Cenobites' logic, that Rick might take pleasure, a kind of pleasure from this pain of Jerry?
I think that we get a little crack into Rick's shell, when he's down in hell talking to Jerry, that it was Rick's idea to pay this debt with Jerry, right? Wasn't that what it was explained? So it's like, Rick surely could have thought of another way to set, like he could have designed a monitor that just played cringy, viral videos at these hell beings. But I think Rick also pointed out that, like, this episode, the writers of this episode rather do a great job pointing out that, like, Hellraiser's really silly. It's a really silly, no offense to giant Hellraiser fans, it's a really silly premise for a horror movie that succeeds because Pinhead is so terrifying looking. Like, to younger people, you're like, this is a terrifying looking villain or whatever. But, like, I think that Rick he does kind of secretly maybe take a little bit of joy out of Jerry's corniness, like it does. Maybe on some level, looking at cringy stuff, there's a reason why people do it. There's a reason why they go viral, and the reason why we share it. It's like, we all cringe, and it's kind of like a jump scare. It's like there's a feeling that comes out of it, and then the feeling afterwards that maybe is pleasurable to people. I never kink shame, but my personal kink is Apple commercials that make me cry when fathers and sons are reunited. So what do I know?
Yeah, I like when it comes to, like, cringe humor, there's, like, kind of almost like a sine wave to it. Like, as a kid, you start by loving it when your dad makes these jokes, but then you reach, like, teenage years and you start to, like, hate it. Yeah. But then, like, at some point you start to become, like, aware of it, and you start to own it yourself and lean into it, so it goes back up again. Yeah. But then you, like, you have your first really awful breakup and nothing makes you laugh, and only like really dark, f***ed up stuff makes you laugh. So then you hate cringe humor again, and you start to, like, go with, like, Rick's nihilism. And then at some point you just reach a state of nirvana and bliss towards all things and any evidence of, like, happiness you appreciate. And I think maybe that's if you start having kids and then you experience joy vicariously through them. So you start to love, and you are now the one making the dad jokes.
I think we need this graphic.
You reach a point of, I think so. Then you reach old age where, like, you lose your job and you don't have health insurance, or like your kids hate you because of your political beliefs or something like that. So then you hate everything that's funny and you don't get anything, and you're on Twitter responding to everything sincerely, and then you just have dementia.
Then you're diagnosed with something terminally awful. But the only thing that you think is funny is, like, Jesse Waters on Fox News. You're like, that guy freaking crushes people. That's gonna anger. Even that's gonna anger some people. I'm sorry to our Jesse Waters, our huge following of Jesse Waters fans out there. But
there's only one, and I don't think Jesse watches this show.
That's Shout out to Jay Watts if you're watching. All right, so next question. When Morty turns on interdimensional cable, there's a commercial for Story Train on. Does that mean that episode was not canon?
Yeah, we talked about this last season. That was episode 6 of season 4, where that truly felt like one episode that might be removed from the main continuity. Just because that was kind of the theme of the episode of what is canonicity in Rick and Morty. And if it is not canon, does it have stakes to the fate of the characters and their, and their journeys? I think that is kind of the implication of this, that if Story Train is a toy that you can buy from a commercial and interdimensional cable, that at the end of that episode, that was kind of like Morty and Rick doing kind of Lego movie thing of like putting their imaginations in this story train and kind of imagining what they were doing as they were playing with it.
Right.
But I don't think that makes the emotional stakes any lesser.
No.
Because like as long as it captivates you and connects with you while you're on the train, so to speak, while you're watching a show,
right?
Then if it transports you in that moment, if it transports you even for a second, it's done its job.
Agree.
Yeah. So I think some people say filler or throwaway episodes when that happens. I don't know. If I can like forget about my life for a second and be surprised by where the story goes for a second, I think that's enough for me. Right?
Yeah, I think we've got to, as viewers, learn to embrace the, like you say, throwaway episodes or filler episodes. Like, to the creative team, there's meaning behind it, and it's a kind of up to us. Like, we can choose to be cynical about it and be like, they just needed to get another episode in. Or we can enjoy what's in front of us and feel something, like you said. And to me, choosing option B is always going to be more fulfilling, like, rather than just being like, well, this didn't matter, so I don't care about it. Like, we can still care about the characters and what happens, and we can still care about, how it makes us feel and if it makes us laugh or makes us think. So there's value in those episodes.
And that's, you see this a lot with Rick and Morty, but it's with every fan base, really. People say like, well, it didn't do enough to win me over.
Right.
I don't know. I think the way we watch these shows in these movies, it is a choice to frame our expectations a certain way. When we sit down for these things, it is our choice what our attitude is going into it. Are we going to allow ourselves to be entertained and impressed, or are we going to cross our arms and say, impress me? Like, that's not on the show. That's on you. That's your attitude, your approach to the world is totally in your control. And the world isn't going to come to you and win you over. You have to be open to it. You got to be vulnerable, and you got to be ready to enjoy something. You have to allow yourself to appreciate.
Exactly. So put on your parents' old records. Give the Kinks a try. Give the Moody Blues a try. Stop being so cynical.
Whenever I think of Moody Blues, I think of that Simpsons episode where Homer and Flanders go to Vegas, and then the Moody Blues.
Absolutely.
I got fatty. Well, I would say arguably the character who gets punished the most this episode is Bruce Chutback, who I think that was Darren Criss who voiced him.
Yes.
And it was specifically for the way he bailed on Morty and Summer, but this was after they refused to bail on him. They were going to put it all on him in that jail, and they're like, no, Bruce, like, you just... They have some line about him being slack-jawed just enough, and it's not his fault,
Right.
So they have been through so much, they know not to punish the innocents of the world for just being innocent and stupid.
Right.
But then at the end, he screws him over.
Right.
So I think it's right to see him get mocked so much and then for the mailboxians to get him. But I wonder thematically what this tells us. Is the show saying that the greatest crime one could commit is betraying those who stuck out their neck for you?
I don't think so, because if that was the case, then Rick would be dead. But
I would say Rick suffers, though. Rick suffers quite a bit.
You're right. He does pay. Rick does suffer massive consequences. He just drinks them away so that they don't haunt him. But I think this was more of just like the rule of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is if you don't screw someone over, inevitably by the end of the episode, they have to screw you over, as a lesson to learn that you need to always look out for number one. Like, that's just like, that's like the prime directive of that show. And I feel like this episode just followed those rules.
Right. Yeah. One thing that like was kind of a depressing takeaway from this episode is that just by being yourself, that's not enough. The world's still going to torture you for being yourself. And like, it's not enough to expect the world not to torture you for being yourself. You just have to like get over it and move past it. Like whether it's Jerry's cringe humor, he can't control it. It's his essence. Or the fact that Bruce Chutback wears the same pair of pants to school, something we all did. And like, it's I think that was kind of a placeholder for all of us going through high school. High school's terrible. And whether it was wearing two pairs of pants the same day in the row, or like your shoes not being right or something like that, they're going to find something.
The monsters of high school will punish you, yes, for sure.
So it's kind of a hell on earth takeaway
That is
there
right.
at the end, but it's true. It's very true. And then mailboxes from another planet will come kick your ass.
Well, who hasn't that happened to?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Tommy, we're halfway through season 5 already. It's kind of moving pretty fast. But luckily, unlike last season, we don't have to like take a months long break now. We're gonna keep moving on to episode 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah.
So what are your general thoughts on this season compared to last season?
It's been all over the place. Obviously we had one of the most disgusting episodes, although something really fascinating over the last week has been the feedback I've gotten from friends of mine that are Rick and Morty fans. The older people that I know that are fans, like people in their late 30s, 40s, loved that episode and thought it was really funny and were not disgusted by it. Everyone under that age was like, this was too disgusting. I crossed the line that I couldn't really like pay as much attention to the episode as I normally would or take as much enjoyment out of it. So that was really interesting to me because I kind of am right in the middle of that. And I was kind of like, I was grossed out by it. Maybe not as much as others. Like, in the moment as I thought about it more, I'm like, oh, I mean, there was a lot of disgusting things, but it's like, it's Rick and Morty. Like, half of the aliens are shaped like buttholes. You know what I mean? Like, what are we? We're kind of being selective about what grosses us out. Overall, for the season, though, I think that what they've done is put so many good potential things out there with already fulfilling episodes. First episode with Mr. Nimbus. I want more of Mr. Nimbus. I want more of that story, but that was a great episode. Planetina episode, same thing. I want her to come back. In the Vindicators episode, I hope that she returns for that. So there's a lot of things I want to see more, but I'm already very satisfied with what those characters and what those stories have given us. So I would say they're doing a great job, but I'm very excited to see what the second half has. How about you?
Yeah, I've enjoyed this season. All the jokes on this show are really great.
Yeah.
I think there's been a few times where either the B plot or in some cases even the A plot didn't have the typical Rick and Morty story structure curvature that like maybe it's just nostalgia being seen through rose-tinted glasses, and I'm just remembering only the best stuff from seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
But every season has had some episodes that are just like a goofy concept explored for 22 minutes and then we're done. And then we get out of it and we don't go back to it, which I was okay with. Like, I'm someone who discovered Rick and Morty like in 2014 or 2015, and I was able to binge all of it on Adult Swim.
Yep, same.
So I was spoiled by those seasons, and then that kind of primed my view of the series, and I didn't ever have like a whole week where I was like, man, I just had a not as great episode of Rick and Morty. To me, I just saw it as a whole. So I'm trying to just see this series as a whole still, and not be too, have too high of expectations for it. But what I am waiting for this season is something like what we saw with the Vat of Acid episode last season.
Yes.
Where it started as just kind of a dumb kind of like trope that someone in the writer's room probably noticed. Like, why do all these things have that? So why does Tim Burton's Batman have these open vats of acid that people fall into? And not just Tim Burton's Batman, the typical Joker origin story.
Yeah, of course.
But it evolved into something so profound and heartbreaking. And I love when Rick and Morty does that. Like Planetina episode did that, I felt. I would even say like the Narnia Dimension episode. Like so much story was packed. What did we say? 14 generations of story.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it was remarkable. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love when they can do that, where it's not just starts with like kind of a goofy thing and they explore it at the surface level, but it evolves into something different. And they started to get there this episode with like when Rick started to really do the math on the pleasure equals pain inversion device. And these, as they're getting hit with the laser, they're kind of confused with what their emotion is. But it did lose me for a little bit, but not in the way of like me being towed behind the car as it's going off in a fun, crazy place. It was more like me chasing after the car, being like, wait, what are we doing now? Like,
sure, I get that.
So I felt that a few times this season, but I still really love the show, and every episode does something that surprises me in a really fun way.
Absolutely.
I'll say this: having seen episode 7, it's great. It's one of the best of the season compared to the other
then we'll
5 I've
keep
seen.
watching. Fine. I guess twist my
so
arm. I'll be back.
Fun. Yeah. So there's a lot to look forward to, and I appreciate everyone who's been sticking with us. Like Rick and Morty is such a fun show. It's hard for us to cover stuff that's not Marvel here because it is a huge risk to cover smaller audience properties because we have like employees that like this is their jobs. It's not like hobbies where I can just cover a season of Dark on Netflix, which is what I would want to do breakdowns, or, even something that like HBO's Watchmen, which I love. I can't always cover it. So Rick and Morty is just one that like we're able to cover. There's enough people who really love it. And it fits our brand of like clue hunting and Easter egg hunting and theorizing in the right ways.
Well, I just want to go back real quick. There are people that get paid to do this because I've been getting just little Snickers bars sent in the mail to me. So is there...
You get Snickers bars?
Yeah.
See, I'm working off a debt. Of some horrible thing that I did, and I can't describe it, but...
Wait, is that why you take me partying with those demons every week? Oh, man. Am I Jerry in this situation?
See, I thought I was the Jerry in this, but
no.
I assume I'm the Jerry at every party I go to. Well, that is it for this episode of Ricksplained. My Easter egg breakdown of all the little details you missed will be coming out tomorrow. Tommy and I will be back next week to react to episode 6. So be sure to follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold, follow me at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to Ricksplained wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching, and we'll close with our favorite moment of the episode.
Isn't a doorknob a virgin?
Not mine. Never f***ed a doorknob.